This is the Investing News Network. I'm Georgia Williams, and we're here at day 2 of PDAC 2026. Joining me today is Barry Baim, Director and Corporate Secretary for West High Yield Resources. Thanks for joining me today, Barry.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. There's a buzz in the air. It's great to be here at PDAC again.
Absolutely. Yesterday was the biggest turnout I've seen for a Sunday, so good things are happening.
It was busy, so we're happy to see all these people interested in the mining industry and moving it forward.
Absolutely. I was wondering if we could start with your share price, your ticker symbol and the exchange that you trade on.
So we're on the TSXV and we trade under the symbol WHY.
Perfect, just like your name.
Exactly.
I was wondering if you could give us a little overview of the Record Ridge asset and what it's like working in that jurisdiction.
Yeah, so Record Ridge is, we started off looking for gold and we've evolved into a magnesium mine. And over time, we've evolved now into a multiple critical minerals mine because we have, within our ore, we have magnesium, silica, nickel, and iron. All of those are on the critical minerals list for Canada, United States, and all G7 countries for that matter. And as I'm sure you're aware, China controls 95% pretty much of all critical minerals and rare earths. So we have a very valuable resource and an ore that is contained with, again, 4 critical minerals. And magnesium specifically is a key element to help with the low carbon transition. So yeah, we're excited.
In October, West High Yield received a mine permit for Record Ridge. Can you tell us a little bit about this process? I know it was probably a long time coming.
Yeah, I mean, getting a mining permit in Canada is a huge milestone for any company, and it takes a lot of work and energy and effort. But, you know, what's reassuring about that, I think, for anyone is to understand that Canada, and specifically British Columbia, has some of the highest mining standards in the world. And that means we're responsibly mining and extracting ore from our resource. So that's a huge milestone for our company, which allows us now to move forward from a exploration and development company into a commercial mining company. So we fully expect to be on the ground in the end of Q2, June-ish, to start construction of the mine.
That's really exciting, and congratulations. I know a mine permit is a big deal in Canada,
Yes.
like you were saying. On the website, it notes that the company plans to use green processing techniques to minimize waste and CO2 emissions. Can you walk us through these processes?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a huge differentiator for our company. The current, for magnesium specifically, process is a high heat thermal process where a lot of carbon is emitted, CO2 is emitted as a result of using coal and heat to extract the ore, or extract magnesium from the ore. In our particular case, we're using a closed loop hydrochloric acid leaching process, which has little to no CO2 emissions. It's closed loop, so the acid is recycled, and it allows us to extract both the magnesium, the silica, nickel, and iron. So it's a very efficient process. It's low carbon, which puts our product then in a very green, low carbon input for many manufacturers who are looking to reduce their own carbon footprint with respect to their manufacturing of whatever product it is. And magnesium, goes into so many verticals: pharmaceutical, lightweighting of metals, fertilizer, wall boards. There's so many applications for it. And silica, as you may be aware, is highly used in computer glass, fiber optics, and most importantly, computer chips. And there's a real shortage of computer chips coming with the AI evolution.
Absolutely, and having a domestic source here in North America is so important.
It is. I mean, everyone's concerned about where their supply is going to come from. So a safe, secure supply chain onshore North America is important, and that's what we offer. We have a generational size resource. We're in a geopolitically stable environment. And we have a resource that's at surface with a small environmental footprint because we're only having to build a couple of kilometers of road to access the mine site. It's at surface, and we are using 94% of the ore. So it's not like we're, extracting a bit of and having to make concentrate. We have no tailings ponds. We have no processing on site. It's a very simple blast, crush, and ship operation.
And I think the environmental aspect of it really stands out because, like you were saying, there's no tailings, like all of that stuff that, traditional mines have. So I think that's very alluring to investors.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to understand that, mining and agriculture play such a role in society existing.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're in British Columbia and Canada and doing it in a very responsible manner with some of the highest standards of the world, I think is important to investors and consumers to understand. It needs to happen. I mean, Ernst & Young put out a paper that we need to do more mining in the next 30 years than we've done in the last 70,000 years.
Right.
So, we're excited because we're extracting 4 critical minerals using 94% of the ore and adding value to so many different manufacturing chains that are important for society. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the diversity in your resource. Do you have any offtake agreements, or how do you plan on, getting that to the market?
Yeah, so we currently have an LOI in place with a company that's going to be buying our ore for the first couple of years, which is important. And we have a 3-phase project. The first one is get up and running with the mine, sell the ore, generate cash flow. Phase 2 will be to develop our processing extraction plant onshore North America, which will be one of the first.
Absolutely. I think, a lot of times we talk about where the resources are, but we don't talk about where they're getting processed. And a lot of that is in China. So having a domestic processing facility is so important.
Well, what it allows us to do too as Canadians is to now have a value chain where we're taking our raw resource, now we're processing it into an input product and hopefully even creating an end product. Right. Economic sustainability, it's good for the country, it makes all the sense in the world rather than to export raw materials.
Absolutely.
So that's good.
In late January, the company started the processing pilot testing. Can you give us a little update? How is it going?
Yeah, so we're excited about it. The process is underway, and basically what it's meant to do is just validate the bench testing that we have, as well as optimize the process and then start to build out the commercial plant designs and engineering. So we're really excited, and it's our commitment to say that we've invested now a lot of money in this process to ensure that we can take the next step in our development of our company. We want to be a value-added processor in North America and make a difference both economically and to society, because we think it's important.
Absolutely. And now with permit in hand and processing plant testing underway, what can investors expect next from West High Yield?
Well, the exciting thing is we expect to start mobilizing in June sometime onto the site, starting construction. The mine site development we hope to have done in 3 to 4 months, and if it all goes according to plan, we expect some commercial sales off of the property by the end of the year.
Wow.
So that's exciting. And the other thing that I want to mention quickly is just we have a strong Indigenous support group, the Osoyoos Indian Band, and we have a cooperation agreement with them that started with an early conversation. They undertook their own environmental assessment of our project before they got involved, and they recognize that we're doing it in a very environmentally responsible way. The fact that we are extracting so much value from the ore and its contribution to the needs.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. And then the other is they actually have developed or entered into a partnership agreement with a company that formed their own joint venture mining and construction company. So the Osoyoos Indian Band now, through a company called Schema Solutions, will be undertaking the construction and mining on site. So that not only gives them jobs and training and economic revenue and long-term sustainability, but most importantly, environmental oversight over the whole project.
Absolutely.
As it's important that as they're undertaking the work, they'll ensure that everything is done according to the regulations or exceed them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yesterday during the opening ceremonies, they had a blessing from a wisdom and peacekeeper, and he was talking about the importance of early engagement. And I'm sure, being engaged with the Indigenous community has helped you to sort of navigate any sort of potential problems that might arise in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's not only early engagement and inclusion and as part of reconciliation, but having them embedded in the project is important because now they have a voice and also benefit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the West High Yield story with us today.
Yeah, well, thank you. We're excited about it. We think we have a great year ahead, and like I say, that's a true inflection point to have this mining permit get on the ground and unlock the value of our resource.
Absolutely. I look forward to speaking with you again, Barry.
Me too. Enjoy PDAC, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
I'm Georgia Williams, and that was Barry Baim of West High Yield Resources.